So today I want to talk about how to build your credit score. Right now I'm in the middle of rebuilding mine, and I want to just kind of give you guys an inside scoop on what that can look like and the time period it can take to build it. Right now my credit score is 682, I believe. I'm actually gonna log into the site that I use to monitor my credit score and to build my credit score from a monitoring standpoint, so I can watch it, and when it dips I know why, and when it goes up I know why. And so I'm really just right now just trying to map out what things actually help to build my credit score and what things actually make it go down. So the credit score, the FICO credit score, that is broadcast by I think three of the agencies: Equifax, TransUnion, and there's one more. Equifax, TransUnion, and well, we're gonna find out here in a second. But yeah, Equifax, TransUnion. I can't think of the third one. But there's a third one. That three main companies that use it and broadcast it to financial institutions that lend you money, provide credit cards and credit services. And your credit score can affect multiple aspects of your life. Before I used to think that, oh, if I'm not buying a house or a car, what does it matter? But it's more than that. Like I said, it's credit cards. It's if you are buying a house, if you're trying to buy a car. Sometimes your cell phone, if you're trying to get a cell phone, you actually have to pay an upfront fee if you have bad credit. If you're renting, in fact, they check your credit score. Uh, from a credit reporting standpoint, I believe your job actually does that as well. I don't think they necessarily check your credit score, but they do check your credit report. Um, and so it becomes very important to manage your credit score. I used to have a mindset where, again, if I'm not trying to buy anything, what does it matter? But slowly but surely, over time, I've learned that no, it really does matter, and it impacts your life and how people even see you. Not that you should be so caught up on your credit score. Dave Ramsey makes a good point. Of what does it matter your credit score if you don't have any debt? Because really, to have a good credit score, it means you're good at paying off debt. It means you're good at having debt and keeping debt. Because you have to build a debt history really for your score to go up higher. The longer your credit history, or rather your debt history of paying off debt, then the better your score is going to be. And that's only one part of what makes up your whole credit score. So I'm going to also have in the post that this video goes with, I'm going to have some awesome links for you where you can learn about how to better your credit score, what a credit score really is, how it impacts your life, and some other great tips and tools. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump right on in, and I'll see you in a bit. All right. All right, so I'm back and I am signed in to myfico.com where I monitor my credit score. And from here, you can see that just as of July, even, I had some things that I didn't even know existed on my credit report. And my score was actually really low, and a major portion of that, as you see, just from July of this year, 2012, my score was 616, which is pretty low. It's not like absolutely horrible, but that's pretty low. That'll get you denied at a lot of places. And I just started monitoring my score because I thought to myself, maybe I want to buy a house with, the wifey and I. We've been kind of talking about, getting into some investment properties, and I'm really starting to try and build wealth from that perspective, and bringing in an additional income that will help to build our future. So I thought, let me find out what it is, because I thought it would be higher than what it was. And frankly, no, it wasn't. So I want to show you just how much time, because that was a big question for me once I started learning about rebuilding my credit score and what that would take. And, so I did a few things. to get it from 616 to 682, which is a pretty significant jump, 60 some points, and from July to October, I've been able to build it up. So I'm predicting, and myfico.com does a really cool thing. It actually forecasts what your score is going to be if you continue the same behaviors that you have been implementing. And so I'm predicting my score to be about 720 to 740 score by within the next, I want to say, 3 to 4 months. So what I've been doing is, one, I got in contact with a credit repair company that was reputable. I'm not going to say their name here, but they're reputable, and they got a lot of stuff removed, fixed, corrected, whatever you want to call it. But they really did help. And the second thing that I did was pay down a lot of my credit cards. Most people don't know this, but if you have a large debt, or if you use a major portion of your credit card and you maintain a balance on your credit card, depending on the balance to available credit on your credit card, that will affect your credit score. So they say that the best thing to do is to maintain between 1 to 15% of your credit balance on your credit card. So don't have, in other words, don't have a reoccurring balance on your credit card month to month that's greater than 15%. Because when you start doing that, what also produces your score is, what your debt to credit limit ratio. And so your debt that you have as a balance on your credit card in comparison to what you have available in credit affects your score. So that was one thing that I did, and I'm continuing to work that down. As you guys probably can see from my past video that I had when I did my whole budget, and I showed the amount of debt I have with my score. So that has helped my scores tremendously. Another thing that I've done, and I've been just doing, I guess, for the past 3 years, but I haven't had a late payment on a bill that reports to the credit union or credit score companies like Equifax or TransUnion. And those three, or those kind of bills, are credit cards. Utility bills don't count. They don't report unless you go and default with them, which means you don't pay your bill and they hound you down and you still don't pay it, and they report you to a credit agency. Okay. And I've also kept up with like my car payments. I paid my car off actually early, which doesn't necessarily help your credit score. A lot of people think that paying off your car early will help your credit score, and it didn't. And I was one of those people. So that I did that, and just really just making my payments on time every month. And so my credit score has been built up. And one thing I will say that I did learn in the process of building my credit score and researching what it would take to do that is that your credit card, even though they hit you with the late fee, or a reporting agency or a company that will report your credit history as paying on time or paying late, like your financer of your car loan would do, they won't report it unless it's 30 days late. So you do have some leeway in there. Now they're going to still hit you with that 30-day late fee, right? Or the late fee, not 30 days, excuse me, the late fee. But it won't be hitting your credit report that you were actually late until you're 30 days late. So that's a tip to think about, not to abuse, but definitely if you are getting tight that month, it's better to be late with your utility bills because they're a lot more flexible. I'm not saying be late at all, but if you have to be late with your utility bills. And you can usually work out a payment plan or something like that with them, but try not to be late with your credit cards. try not to be late with your car loan. Try not to be late with those type of things, because that will really affect your credit score. So again, you can see here, I have my alerts set up, and I can have a little chart here that shows how my credit score has worked and things like that. So you see here, for a while I was doing really well. I was at 667, and then all of a sudden, I just dropped. I dropped like a rock, and I couldn't figure out why that was. From right here, you can see that my score just dropped like a rock, and I couldn't understand necessarily why that was, and I was trying to figure it out, and it dropped, in fact, below my target. My target was 660 when I started off, and that's another cool thing about myfico.com, is that it allows you to go from 616, or to create a target that you want. When you get that target, it automatically sends you a notification that you've gone above your target. And that's something that worked out really nice for me. But that 660 to 619 drop, I can't think of what that was, but it wasn't a late payment. I think it was, what was it? Oh, my balance increased on one of my credit cards, and my payment it registered the balance increase before it registered my payment, and so when they report it to my credit history, or my credit payment, or balance rather, to the credit agencies, it showed that my balance had jumped up significantly, and that made my score drop like a rock. So just be aware that when you do make a big purchase, try and pay it off as quickly as possible. I try to use the rule that if it's not already in the bank account, I'm not even going to put it on the credit card. Okay, so it's not so much of using your credit card because you don't have the money, but using your credit card so that you can keep a balance on it, or not balance, but to keep it active. The more as you use your credit card, you keep it active. If you don't like credit cards, I understand. Just buy like a candy bar and then just pay it off. But basically, what that does is keeps your account active and open. And like I said, going back to the beginning of this video, I talked about how the longer your history is, the better your score will be, and that is one of the things that's important. I had a credit card before that. I had it open for a long time, and then one day I went to use it, and I got declined, and I couldn't figure out why. And my wife and I were both like, "What's going on? Like, why isn't this working?" And come to find out that the credit card company had closed the account because we hadn't used it in so long. So that can affect your score when a credit card account closes. Which brings me to my next statement. If you are thinking about closing a credit card account, say I'm done with credit cards. Don't close your credit card account. That's one of the things that will hurt your credit. You may think you're doing a good thing by closing that credit card account, but you're actually going to hurt your score, because what that does is your average length of credit history or credit account is affected by that, and that's another way that your score is made up, is of your average length of credit accounts. So all the accounts that you have that report to your credit history, which makes up your history. So if you close an account, that's going to hurt you. Just leave it open. Like I said, buy a candy bar on it. If I know you hate credit cards or companies or something like that or whatever, but really, credit card companies aren't the problem. Now, yes, they abuse their customers sometimes with their fees and all the gimmicks and the gotchas and the end of the gimmick and the fine print, but really it's up to the consumer to understand and to take responsibility for their spending habits. Now, again, I feel like I'm on both sides in the sense that it's like guns, and not to get political, but it's like guns. Guns don't kill people. People kill people with guns. But yes, should gun companies have a responsibility to help lower that? Absolutely. But it's also the responsibility of individuals to not shoot people, right? So same thing with credit cards. It's your responsibility not to spend money that you don't really have. Sure, it's like free money. Not. It's actually a loan. When you swipe your credit card distributor or company or whoever, your bank, your credit union, they're actually saying, hey, here's a temporary loan for this money. If you don't pay it off at the end of the month, we're going to charge you this amount of interest. So be wise about that. It's no different than really taking out a car loan. You have to pay it back. That's what it's all about. But it is a tool, and if you use it appropriately, you can really do some great things with it. You can build your credit. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of the book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, very, very popular book. Actually has some videos that he did and put up on YouTube on the website. So go check that out under budget videos. And but one of the things that he talks about is how debt actually can be a benefit because there's no tax on that debt. So when you go and you get a credit card and you get that money, okay, the government doesn't tax you on that extra income, that temporary income that you have. So that increases your buying power. I know I'm getting a little off subject here, but I think it's important to understand how to appropriately use debt to build wealth. And this is something that a lot of people really don't understand. There's a difference between bad debt and good debt. Okay, bad debt are things like cars, because a car doesn't bring any additional income back in when you purchase one. Okay, but a rental income property, that's a good debt. Why is that a good debt? Because it actually produces income, even though you owe $30,000 on it. Or you owe $250,000 on that property unit. If it's bringing in $5,000 or $3,000 or $1,000 a month, it's actually a good debt to have, as long as it's bringing in more in a month than you are having to pay for it out, right? But it's actually a good debt because it's bringing in money, and that builds an asset to you, right? Or that becomes an asset to you, rather. So understanding the difference between good debt and bad debt is very, very important. And that plays really heavily into how you see debt, how you see money, and how you utilize your money, and how you utilize debt tools. And a credit card is a debt tool because in order to use it, you go into debt, right? But you have to pay that debt off. So be wise about how you use credit cards. Be wise about how you use debt tools, because it can get you into a lot of trouble if you're not responsible. And a lot of people play the game and they lose because they're not playing responsible. So this is just a video I wanted to show, from the months of July to October. My score is raised from 616 to 682, and there have been a few ways. Just to recap, I've paid down my credit card balances and continue to do so. I've got things that were incorrect on my credit report removed, updated, or corrected. And I have just been paying my bills on time. And that's something that you just got to do over a lengthy period of time. But again, I'm going to have some tools for you in the blog post that's going to be associated with this video. I want you to check them out. I think they're going to be really good for you if you are trying to build your credit, or you just want to maintain. You want to understand how the credit system works. And I think, again, a large portion of why so many people in America have bad credit scores, have poor spending habits, financial habits, is because they don't have the tools and understanding that the rich do. And so one of the things I want to do with BudgetStrong.com is give those tools, that information, back to other people just like myself, who work hard, for their money and can't figure out why they're not getting ahead. And I've been able to do that. And as I continue to do that, I want to share that with you. I want to help you to grow, encourage you to continue fighting the good fight, and saving your money, spending less than you make, and continue to raise your your income level. Very important, because if you want to live beyond your means, you got to make more than your means. You have to continue to raise that income ceiling and lower the liability ceiling, so that the amount you keep after tax, after bills, after medical premiums, after car insurance, and all that stuff gets bigger. So your income is here, your debt is here, and or your liabilities are here, or rather your assets are here, your liabilities are here, and this is what you want to see happen, so that that gap in between becomes bigger. And that's really what the wealthy of the wealthy have done. Okay, they've been able to lower their liabilities and increase their assets. And they have tax shelters and everything else built around. That's something I want to get into later. So, but this video really has been about how to raise your credit score. Sorry I digress, but a lot of great information for you. Talk to you soon.